Okay, so as we said, as I said last meeting, the decision tree is one of the useful tools that we can use in order to help us visualize and solve decision problems. Okay, so in this simple decision tree here on the right side of your screen, you'll have a square node, meaning that there's a decision that has to be made, and then the square node is always followed by a set of alternative actions, in this case A1 and A2. Okay, and then if you encounter a round node, it simply means that the round nodes are uh, preceded by events. Okay, so again, just a review, A1 and A2 are alternative courses of actions available for this decision problem, whereas E1 and E2 are the events that will happen after a selection has been made or after a decision has been made. So these events are actually states of the environment that are not within the control of the decision maker. Okay, so if you recall our example last meeting about rain and about bringing an umbrella or not bringing an umbrella, those are alternatives for you because they are uh, within your control. It is within your control to bring an umbrella. It is within your control not to bring an umbrella. Okay? But after you make that decision and you step out of your house, any of two events can happen, whether it rains or it does not rain. And those two events, raining or not raining, is not within the control of the decision maker. Okay? And chances are, if you knew that if you knew which event is going to happen, then you could have made a better decision. So let me put it here. So uh, umbrella, no umbrella. Okay. Rain, no rain. Rain, no rain. Okay. So if you look at this decision tree, okay, if only you knew which of events one or two is going to happen, then you could have made a better decision. Agree? So kunyari, alam nyo na uulan. Okay? 100% you have that information that it's going to rain and it's very reliable. What decision will you take? What alternative will you choose?
Bring
Anyone?
an
Just unmute
umbrella
yourself.
po.
Ah?
Bring an umbrella.
Bring umbrella. That is easy decision to make, di ba? If you knew that it's going to rain. But the problem here in decision theory problems is that the events, okay, are uncertain. Okay? In some cases, you don't have an idea at all which event is going to happen. In some cases, you know the probability that it, sabi ko nga, from our friendly pag-asa, you know that the probability is 0.7 or 0.3 and 0.3 for no rain. In some cases, totally, you don't know what these probabilities are. Okay? And hence, because of the uncertainty or because of the risk, then we have developed certain rules to follow in order for us to make a decision. Yan yung i-discuss natin for today. Decision rules that we can follow in the face of uncertainty and in the face of risk. Let me differentiate the two again. If you have, wait, there's somebody coming in. Okay. So if you have uh, probabilities associated or attached to your events, then you are actually making a decision under risk. But if these probabilities are unknown, no idea what the probabilities of these events are, then you are making a decision under uncertainty. So far, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay? Klaro naman? So, today, I will focus on decision under uncertainty. Next meeting, decision under risk tayo. Okay? So, we will just focus on the decision rules. What rules do we follow so that we can make a decision under uncertainty, not knowing the probabilities of the events that are going to happen. Okay? So, as I told you last meeting, IEOPER 3 is a relatively quantitative course. It requires your foundation knowledge on Indomat, also requires a lot of your knowledge from FND Stat and your ENG.1. Okay? So, modeling is also important. So, IEOPER 1 is also important. For now, I will discuss with you the notations and how the model looks like. I expect you to be able to understand these notations already from your Indomat. So let's start. Consider a decision theory problem with M alternative courses of actions and N states of nature or N events. Okay? So let's define our alternative as A sub I and our states of nature as phi sub j. Okay? So now, you will see here that you have actually a total of 1, 2, up to m alternative courses of action and 1, 2, up to n possible states of nature. And if we're making a decision under uncertainty, then it means that for all of these n events, we are uncertain as to what their probabilities of occurrences are. Okay? So, moving on, I can actually, from this notation, AI and phi sub j, I can actually put them in a table. Okay? I can put them in a table like this. And as I've told you last meeting, for every alternative event pair, there is always a what we call a consequence or what we call a payoff. Okay? So what this table is telling us is that for every pair, alternative 1 and event 1, okay, for this one and this one, the return, okay, the consequence, again, the consequence can be in terms of profit, it can be in terms of cost, it can be in terms of losses, it can be in terms of distance, it can be in terms of convenience, it can be anything, a consequence expressed in monetary terms. Okay? So now, this letter V represents the consequence or the payoff. Okay? So you will see here that each cell is actually a combination of an alternative and an event. So example, this one. It simply means that this is the profit or the cost if you choose alternative 2 and event 2 happens. That will be your consequence. So this whole table is called a decision matrix, or sometimes, many times pala, it is also called your payoff table. Okay? So don't forget, there are always three components of a DT problem. First is your alternatives, which is this one on the right side. Second will be your events or states of nature. Which is this one. And third will be your consequence or payoff, which is this one. Okay? So, clear so far?
Yes po.
Okay. So, if you have these three components, okay, in a problem, present in a problem, then you have what you call a DT or a decision theory problem. Okay? So, we'll begin. Someone entering. Wait. Okay. So now, if you look at, again, if you look here, if you do not know the probabilities associated to the events that can happen after you select an alternative, then you are left with no choice but to rely on certain decision rules that can help you make a decision. Ano ba talaga? A1 or A2 ba? Okay? So, ngayon, ang ipapresent ko sa inyo would be the different decision rules. Okay? Under uncertainty. Okay? So, we actually have four that I will discuss today. And we actually call this as non-probability decision rules. Except for number one, yung Laplace, no, where we arbitrarily assign probabilities. Pero hindi yan reliable, no? Okay. So we begin with non-probability decision rules to help us make decisions under uncertainty. So what is Laplace criterion? Okay. So this criterion is based on what is known as the principle of insufficient reason. So here, if again, if I have a decision tree, A1, A2, okay? And let's say I have E1, E2, and E3. Okay? So I have three events, but I do not know their probabilities. I am uncertain. Okay? So Laplace criterion assumes that we do not have sufficient reason to conclude that the probabilities of these three events are different. Okay? And hence, since we do not have sufficient reason to make a distinction between the probabilities, then we just arbitrarily assign equal probabilities to all your events. So if I have three events, then the probability of each event will now be 1/3. Okay? So here you will see that the probability that an event is equal to a certain event J, okay, is equal to 1 over n, where n is the number of events. Okay? Where n is the number of possible events. So if I have 5 events possible after making a decision, then n will be equal to 5, and each of the events will have a probability of 1 over 5. Is that clear? So how do we now make a decision based on Laplace criterion? Okay, so as I mentioned, you would have consequences or payoffs for every alternative event pair. Okay, for every alternative event pair. So let's say the consequence of or payoff for this pair would be 20. For this one would be 30, and for this one would be 15. So these are your, say, profit, okay? And then let's say this one would be 10, 20, 25, and 12, for example. Okay? So how do you now make a decision using Laplace criterion? So this is what you do. Look at this formula. Okay? Always remember that your VA represents payoff. Okay? It represents payoff. And what is it telling to do? What is it telling you to do? It tells you to sum up, okay, all the payoffs. Okay? So importante ito. Ito. This is actually J. It tells you to sum up all the payoffs from J equals 1 up to N. Ibig sabihin, sum up all the payoffs for all events. Okay? So, ito yung J. For all events, E1, E2, E3, i-add daw itong lahat. Okay? So, the summation of all the payoffs is actually equal to 50 plus 65. Plus 15 is equal to 65. Okay? So, and then, after summing up all the payoffs, so ito yung bawat isang payoff, no, for alternative 1. If you choose alternative 1, these are all the possible payoffs. Now, why do I have to sum it up? The reason is, you are uncertain which one is going to happen, okay? We do not know which of E1, E2, or E3 is going to happen. So, therefore, all of them have the same chance of happening. So it's just like we're getting the average profit, okay, if we select alternative 1. So the question now becomes, what is the average profit that I will earn if I select alternative 1? And the average profit, as you've learned in your ENG.1, is x times f of x, di ba? Summation of x times f of x. Ito yun. Okay? Summation ng probability times the profit. Probability times the profit. But since the probability is 1/3 for all, then it is the same as 65 divided by 3. Okay? And you do the same, take note, you do the same for all your alternatives. Kaya makikita natin dito sa labas, ang sinasabi nito is, piliin mo raw yung average profit na maximum across all A's, across all alternatives. Okay? So, Laplace criterion tells you to add up all of the payoffs across all events, add up all of the payoffs across all events, 10, 25, 35, 47, then divide by 3, divide by n, okay, divide by n, and then when you move back, okay, you put the average profit here, 65 over 3, and then the average profit here is 47 over 3. Okay? So now, when you move back, do you choose A1 or A2? The decision rule is for you to choose the one with the highest profit. Okay? So comparing 65 over 3 and 47 over 3, which one is bigger? Obviously, this one, 65 over 3, is bigger, and therefore, here, on top of the square node, you put A1. Kasi yung expected profit ng A1 or average profit ng A1 is bigger. Any questions? Do you follow, class?
Clear po.
Class?
Clear, sir.
Klaro yung gagawin? Okay. So, this technique or this decision tree that I have drawn, okay, wherein I place the consequences for every alternative event pair in the end, okay, and then what I did was actually, I can actually erase this, ha? Erase ko to. Yan, erase ko yan. Yan, erase ko. Okay? Ang ginawa ko lang is, from the end point, the right side, from the end point, I move back 20 times 1/3 plus 30 times 1/3. So I need a cursor here. Wait, I need the eraser. Okay, ganito na lang. 20 times 1/3 plus 30 times 1/3 plus 15 times 1/3 is 65/3. Then I put it on top of the circle. So whenever you encounter a round node in a decision tree, it signals you to write down expected or average profit or cost. Okay? So ganun din dito. 10 times 1/3, 25 times 1/3 plus 12 times 1/3 is 47/3. So again, since you are encountering a round node, you have to put an average profit or cost on top of it. Okay? Now, as you continue to move back, okay, as you move back, you will now encounter a square node. Okay? Every time you encounter a square node, it tells you to select an alternative. Okay? It tells you to select an alternative. Now, the selection of your alternative will be dependent on the average profit or cost that is on top of a circular node. Okay? Of course, if it's profit, you maximize it. If it's cost, you minimize it. So therefore, maximizing profit, you will select A1. Okay? This technique is actually called Bayes rule. Okay? This technique is actually called Bayes rule. I applied Bayes rule on Laplace criterion. Okay? In-apply ko lang. This is actually the fifth method, no, which I will discuss starting next Monday, itong Bayes rule. Bayes rule is nothing but a decision tree. Okay? It is a decision tree, okay, consisting of probabilities and consequences, expected profit or cost, and then a decision. Right? So, that's Laplace criterion. So, we go next. Okay, we go next to this example. Okay, so actually, I can go here. Balik ako. If you look at the left side of your screen, I hope it's readable for you. It's readable naman sa laptop ko. You will see that this is actually the right side and the left side represent the same problem. Okay, so I'll give you 2 minutes to read the problem. Okay, read the problem on the left side up to letter A only. Okay, up to letter A, up to here. Yeah, up to here only. Okay.